Man, I don't even know how to start this video. I guess I can start off with, it was a Saturday night and I was talking to our good friend ChatGPT. I wanted to know more about why my dating life was the way that it is now. And I don't know if a lot of you can relate to this, or maybe you can, you tell me. But I realized something about myself recently. I was treating dating like it was a business. See, I now have my own business where I do business things. And that mindset you have to have, that mode that you're in while you're trying to make your business operate, where you're just on go. You want to know the answer right away so you can move on to the next thing and not waste any time. I realized that mode translated over to my dating life. And unfortunately, without even me noticing, it was killing the connections I was creating. There would be women that would be interested in me, whether it be on the dating apps, in person, or recommendations I get from other people. And instead of trying to curate a connection, I would just treat them as if like, okay, is this working? Are we good? Are we on to the next level? Perfect, fine, move on. It would show up in the way I text. It would show up the way that I talk to them, for the most part. So I had to slow down and think about this. In business, that mindset works. But in relationships, it quietly destroys them. I'll tell you a story. There's a girl that I met at the gym. She works at the front desk. She makes like really good smoothies or shakes or whatever you call them. After a couple of times we got to talking, I could tell there was some type of like spark there. All right. It's been about 3 times since I received a smoothie from her, and it was either discounted or free. So I knew there was something going on. What I didn't realize was how quickly I was applying pressure when I should have just let it take its natural course. See, in business, you move efficiently. You optimize, you minimize wasted time, you progress conversations, you think about your next step. You ultimately try to protect your energy. It's structured, it's strategic, it's outcome focused, okay? Always on the go, on the move, just for the direct, correct answer. You're always thinking, what's the goal, what's the timeline, and what is the leverage? And honestly, that mindset built a lot of things in my life. But I didn't realize that it carried into my dating life up until last Saturday. So going back to that story, I inevitably got her number. That's what your boy does. I got her number and I started texting her, immediately trying to set up a date, trying to just get this shit going. What I didn't realize is that shit doesn't work in dating. It doesn't work when you're trying to talk to a woman that you're interested in. You have to create an inviting, emotional playground through texting, through the conversations. You know, you gotta reel them in and invite them into this playground, for lack of better words. But in that moment, I was just like, gotta know she likes me, cool, let's go on a date. First date, boom. Second date, third date, she's in love with me, perfect. That's the mindset I was thinking. And I personally think that's the incorrect mindset to have, because not only does it take the fun out of dating, it honestly takes the mystery behind the person you're trying to talk to. It almost feels like the relationship you're trying to form is almost forced, and we never want to force a relationship, whether it's a friendship or something serious, right? So with that being said, she left me on red after I tried to set a date up, and I didn't know why, because it just happened to me a couple months earlier and I never gave it much thought. I just kept it moving. I said, on to the next one. But when it happened this Saturday, or not this Saturday, when it happened this past week, I really wanted to know why this was a recurring theme. And then me and Chad had that conversation. And turns out the business mindset that got me got me this far. It got me the business mindset I've developed that got me this far in life was translating over to my dating life. When in reality, I should have separated it, but I didn't, because I didn't know. When you bring business into dating, it looks like this. You escalate too quickly, you get impatient with pacing. You think in terms of progression instead of actually being present. You treat texting like a pipeline management, and that's real. You treat texting without trying to convey a proper emotional playground. You treat it like, okay, move it on to the pipeline. You know, like when it comes to roofing inspections, it's new, inspection, estimate, approval, production, complete. That's how I was treating it when it comes to dating. Interaction, acquire the number, conversation, set up the date, fall in love, yada, yada, yada. You subconsciously evaluate return on investment. And women can feel that. Women can really feel that. Even if you think you're trying to be smooth, there's a subtle pressure in that specific interaction. And after that being revealed to me, I had to think back to all the times that I've talked to a woman and it didn't typically end well for both parties. It lacked something. I could tell with the girls who I'm friends with that I treat them way differently than the women I'm interested in forming a relationship with. See, the women that I'm friends with, there's constant conversation. There's an emotional playground being built. We vibe together. When it comes to the women that I'm interested in dating, it's very forced. It's very business savvy. It's very, very structured. And I don't think relationships require that type of structure. So that being said, I realized that dating isn't about efficiency. It's about emotional timing. It's non-linear. It's about sitting in a conversation, listening, letting the silence breathe, discovering more about that person instead of closing the deal. And it's understandable if a lot of guys who are focused on becoming a high value man feel this exact same way. Because we're so focused on getting this car, getting this business deal to close, making this amount of money. You know, we see all this stuff on Instagram. We see like guys like Andrew Tate or I don't even really pay attention to a bunch of high value people on Instagram. But to people that do on Instagram, but to the guys who are actually trying to make their lives better, they know they have to lock in. They know it's a process. They know they don't really have a lot of time to waste fooling around with something that's uncertain. And what is more certain for men is how they operate their business, because they know they have to follow a specific guideline, a specific system in order to get what they want. But when it comes to relationships, it's a little scary. It's a little treacherous because you don't really know how treacherous the waters you're really walking are. So instead of that, you take that mindset that you use when you're applying that to business and apply that to dating. But it doesn't work because business rewards speed, connection rewards depth. So what I realize now is that I have to learn how to separate the two. Yes, I love making money. I love taking care of my business. I love doing what I got to do to make sure I have a better, higher quality life. But that's business. That's something that requires building structure. When it comes to dating, it's a little bit more different. Actually, a lot more different. That requires building resonance. All right? That requires building connection. And as we know, connections require time. It requires depth. So what I'm going to stop doing is to try not to move things forward as if it's a business and just start enjoying the presence of somebody. It's going to be a little hard with texting because I'm not the best texter. I don't know if a lot of business guys are the best texters. It's like, it's just interesting. Yeah, texting is not really my strong suit. I'd rather be on a call because I feel like the emotions, the tone of voice doesn't really convey the same when you try to text. So that initial thought of you sending a text message and it not being received properly because both parties are interpreting the message differently, that causes a lot of distortion. But that being said, you're gonna have to practice getting better at texting. I gotta practice getting better at texting, truthfully. But like I said before, it's about creating a connection. I gotta figure out. So when it comes to texting, now it's just asking questions that allow me to be more understanding about who that person is. Asking deeper questions. And it doesn't boil down to, oh, who's more alpha in this conversation or who's more masculine in this conversation. It's just another human talking to another human and trying to form something deeper. That's really all it is. And with that, I think the conversations will get lighter, the energy will get softer, and attraction can actually be felt instead of it being forced. Yeah, and like I said before, a lot of driven men make this mistake because we're so used to optimizing everything in our life. But we forget that people, women, the people that we're attracted to, they're not projects. They're actual people. People that deserve to know who we are and also are deserving of being understood as well. And connection isn't scalable. It's sometimes the strongest move in dating is just slowing things down and just enjoying the ride. You don't have to expect a date from 2-3 text messages afterwards. Just have a conversation and feel out the person, enjoy the vibe, and then if you will take them out on a date, ask them, feel it. Don't try to force it. That's something I'm gonna take next time I approach a girl that I am interested in. But I just thought I should share this because I think this is so God damn. But I just thought I should share this because I think this is something that is truly important to the male society that wants to be a high value man but can't seem to switch off that mode. Learn how to separate those modes. Build your business, but breathe in your relationships. You might actually find some peace that you weren't even looking for in those relationships. Maybe, if you find the right one, if you find the right girl. Can't guarantee you every relationship you're in is going to be a peaceful stroll in the park, but I can guarantee you it's best if you separate those two modes, okay? If you bring pressure into connection, you're always going to feel out of sync. That's what I've experienced these past couple of weeks. Actually, these past couple of months. These past couple of years, truthfully. And if you feel that pressure, so will the girl that you're talking to. Not everything needs to be optimized. But if you like what you heard, please make sure to like and subscribe, share to someone who needs to hear this. Other than that, develop a prodigy mindset and tackle your problems with everything you got. I believe in you. Take care. Peace.
My soul can fly, I see forever in your eyes. A love that time can't compromise with every